Dom here from Soundsphere magazine and Gimme a Hull. Yeah, just had a wonderful chat to Pro Wrestling Society members of that roster talking about their careers, goals for the future, creating a wrestling culture in Korea, and loads more. I really hope you enjoy it. These guys were absolutely wonderful to me, and a big thank you to Lucha Libre Online for sorting it out. Really hope you enjoyed this interview, and thank you so much once again to Pro Wrestling Society for giving us their time, and I really hope you guys can check them out. Okay, guys, so thank you so much for you taking the time out to speak to me today. I'm really excited to have you. So we'll do questions for each of you, and then I'll sort of open the floor up to all of you guys. So basically, first question is for Shiho. Simple one. What are your goals for the future of PWS? Obviously, I've seen some great work in my research, but what do you want to achieve in the future? Can we see you traveling? Are we going to see you in the UK, for example?
Well, for example, the ultimate future for Pro Wrestling Society would be being the platform for every Korean pro wrestler to use to like spread all over the world, like, because in Korea, like, unfortunately there are not that many stage for wrestlers to perform, like, not like we usually host a show like maybe once a month to maximum. So but these days this new surge, this new explosive the growth of Pro Wrestling Society, like, we give pro wrestler in Korea opportunity to spread all over the world. So ultimate goal would be actually those major leagues, WWE, AEW, or like New Japan, like, reaching out to us, like, when they want to extend their market to South Korea, because like South Korea, the pro wrestling has a huge potential. So if they are interested in inviting or maybe having a little bit of some of Korean wrestlers to their major league, I want them to contact us, because like, there are not that many English speaker in Korean pro wrestling, and fortunately, I'm happen to be one of that person. So it was easy for me to reach out from the other like overseas promoters, English, like Korea, Japan, America. So that would be my ultimate goal. WWE, big major leagues guys contacting us, so I can introduce our talents like Jade Lee, Ray Aksai, or myself. So yeah, that would be the good answer.
Absolutely, man. Well, the forbidden door is open, so hopefully, fingers crossed, lots of collaboration between you guys in the future. Yeah, Ray. Yeah, absolutely. Ray, you're over there, you're wrestling. How would you say you've progressed as a performer through your time with PWS? What has the wrestlers, the performers around you, Ray, taught you about wrestling? How have you progressed and developed as a performer?
Well, I've been doing this for 3 years. So like we started like really small, and like it was like training every week. Every weekend we were training. And due to us having like side jobs, full-time jobs, like we all have that normal life. Sometimes even when we wrestle live shows, that's our training on the live shows, and we got to learn on the spot, on the job. So I mean, I came a long way. I wasn't expecting it to get this far for me, but it was great to see everybody around us in the company work together to make sure the company itself expanded. So we're not here to be like, I want to be on top and I would just want to stay there. Nobody in the company wants to stay on top. We all share a common goal, and nobody goes to go over each other. And it's perfect, a great area to learn. I like the culture, and like I said, like they like sharing. Like when you talk to them, when you build in a match, it's not like what makes me look good. It's all about what can we make this as magic so the fans can just come back.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So you're talking about collaboration. Everybody's together. Everybody's got that community.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like we just talk to each other, like regardless of what we had to do that day, they just give it, like PWS gives us the platform to perform. Like they're not like micromanaging. This is what I want you to do, and this is the end goal. And we were able to actually learn how to build a match. Yeah. And then of course we have veterans in PWS like Shiho and Joe, like we'll come out with our suggestions, and they'll probably change it. But like I said, like it's an open forum. Like, hey, you want to do that, do it. If it doesn't work, we fix it. You know, like it's like as long as we don't get injured and we just don't like try to injure each other, it's like nothing. We're not doing crazy that we haven't practiced. We're trying to do a 360 and we never done that. So that's what.
Yeah.
We got veterans. Like if I say I want to do a double moonsault, they'll be like, "Whoa, man, hold on." So, but I mean, it's great because I wrestle basically almost everybody in PWS, and I never have a complaint. Like we all work together for a common goal, and it's putting the PWS on the map outside Korea.
Fantastic. It's great to hear. And JD, do you feel any pressure at your age, having, been wrestling, from a very young age? Do you feel any pressure with, Korean wrestling and the future of Korean wrestling on your shoulders?
To be honest, there's a little bit of pressure, a little bit, but I think it's not that bad because I know that pressure makes me more bigger, and like I can go more forward. And also the one thing that I worry about is I got locked on myself in case of my age, like it can be my excuse of myself. So I'm trying to get over it, and I don't think I'm young wrestler. I just think of myself as just professional wrestler, and I try to compare with other like big stars, and so that I can fix my problems and I can see further and see higher. So yeah, that's my answer.
So you're learning and growing with PWS. You're developing all the time.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'll open up the floor now for my question. So feel free to answer, whoever wants to answer this. What have been the challenges you've all seen and experienced building a pro wrestling culture in South Korea? I know, Shiho, you've spoken in interviews before about how it used to be really popular. Wrestlers used to be able to make money, but now it's slightly less popular. So what have been the biggest challenges you have all experienced building a pro wrestling culture in South Korea?
Well, the biggest challenge would be, I guess, like I'll just answer shortly, and then I'll just turn the table to other guys too. So I've been in pro wrestling in South Korea for 19 years, and the biggest challenge I think is just always the lack of money, lack of money and lack of the shortage of number of wrestlers. We don't have that many wrestlers. Like PWS, like the existence of PWS was a miracle because for 19 years, it was really hard for us to train anybody who want to wrestle. Now we have about like 13 and 14 number of wrestlers in PWS, which is not that many compared to like worldwide promotions. However, so first of all, we don't have that many people to wrestle. So it's always hard to book the show. And then second would be the lack of fund, lack of money, lack of sponsor. We always constantly try to seek the sponsor or try to find a venue to wrestle. But that whole process to have a show, to host the simple show can be challenging. But when you think about the interest that the Korean people's interest in pro wrestling is actually really huge. Like if you do a proper marketing, if you advertise our show in proper direction, proper way, actually like last 2-3 years, whenever we had a show, we could draw average like from 50 to maximum 200 audiences for our show. Which was very, very inspirational for everybody in Korea. So, and you might think like maybe South Korean pro wrestling is not really popular because people are not really interested in it. But when you see our crowds, there are so many new people who never heard about wrestling. They come to our show, they see our wrestling, and they get like crazy. They never seen this kind of form of culture. And they always tell us like, this is amazing. Why this culture didn't exist in Korea for like last 10 to 20 years. So once we have a good sponsor who could see our value our potential as a culture in pro wrestling, I think this culture could just surge. I think this culture will just make a huge boom in South Korea once again.
Wonderful, man. Wonderful. Anybody else got anything to say on that? Because I mean, you know, as wrestlers, as performers, you know, it must have been challenging in some ways. Obviously, you've both come, you know, Ray, you've come from a certain background, military background as well. So for you guys, have you got anything to add to what Shiho said?
At the first time I had a, yeah, sorry. Ray, you can go first.
Oh, okay. Like he said, like due to this whole pandemic going on the 2020, it actually slowed down a lot of progress. Obviously, when you build in a company, we do like if we don't have enough wrestlers on that day, we can't put a show together, right? So due to this whole pandemic, and now we have a lot of restrictions in Korea when it comes to flying. You can't really bring anybody here and like a main eventer to main event the show, showcase some big names outside, right? So we depend on each other to bring a big shows, right? So and then Korea is just what I see is like it's just trying to grow the company. So like don't make wrestling like it's just a hobby. It's something that you really, really want to do. Like you really want to expand yourself from Korea and then probably end up in Japan, probably in Vietnam, and go to China and go to Europe. And that should be your goal, you know. And that's that's what Korea is. It's just trying to build that wrestling back again like it used to be, where people saw a wrestling poster and I just want to be there. I want to be him. I want to try it, you know, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. JD?
For me, the first time I had a really hard time with it. That is a lack of understanding of pro wrestling. They don't know, actually, most of people don't know what pro wrestling actually is. They think just like, is it fight or is it fake? Actually, I think that's not a problem. Pro wrestling is pro wrestling itself. They need to understand what pro wrestling is correctly. So, but I think it's not their fault. It's our fault. It's like we need to show them this is pro wrestling. So these days, when it comes to that problem, I think that we need to do better these days. So we can showing that our matches and this is pro wrestling and it's not a like real fight, but actually it's not a fake and it's just pro wrestling itself. You can come over our show and just enjoy it, and you can feel like pro wrestling, and you can if you want to, you can come back again, and if you don't want to, you can leave. But I can share that if they come over to our pro wrestling society, we can grab them as a fan.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah. It sounds wonderful. And, you know, that adds to my next question for all of you guys is, you know, where does your passion for wrestling come from? So we're talking like, what was the first time you were like, I want to put my body on the line for people? You know, I want to do this for the rest of my life. I'm going to have a job. I'm going to have to do all this stuff, but I want to wrestle every weekend or every night. Where was your passion? Where did it come from? What drives you when you're having a bad day and you don't want to get in the ring? You don't want to lace up the boots? You know, what makes you get in that ring? Where is your passion point? So yeah, I'll open it up to the room. You guys tell me where your passion for pro wrestling comes from, what you love about it.
Okay. For the perspective of the little kid as a Mark, 11 years old, was watching WWE with my grandmother.
Okay.
And this like bold guy and this like buff guy with long hair named by like 3H and Stone Cold,
of course,
was beating the hell out of this like boys called Hardys. So they've been beating the hell out of them, even beating this like lady called Lita, and like shit, like they are the evil people. And then like the lights off, and then this fire comes up. This like two big gentlemen that I've never seen in my life, Undertaker and Kane, just walking down the aisle, like beating the shit out of this, you know, the evil guys. They're like simple dynamics, like good guys, bad guys colliding, good guys prevail, good guys have a struggle, but good guys always win. So like that simple dynamic made me like, gave my heart like such a fire. Like I never known what this culture is, what this is, but like they looked so cool. And I realized the more I do, I realized this is such a articulate, such an amazing art. We don't make people think. we make people feel, right? And then because of that, like I started wrestling when I was 21 years old. And then last year I had a match in the Seoul, capital city of South Korea. And then I was doing the same shit like the Undertaker and Kane was doing. I was walking the aisle with my entrance music, and I heard this, and I saw this little kid. I saw this little kid made eye contact with me, and when I saw his eyes was exactly the same as my eyes when I saw Undertaker and Kane. You know, so it's like passing down the torch. We pro wrestler, I think every artist do that, but especially pro wrestler, I think we pass my dream to next generation. You know, I feel like no matter what I do, no matter what I do in pro wrestling, I'll be so happy if there's somebody who want to become a pro wrestler because of me. So that would be my main passion.
Absolutely. JD, Ray, your thoughts?
I first got impression of pro wrestling at my age 9 or 7. And I just like turn my TV channel randomly for watching SpongeBob or something. And there was WWE, and there was a Randy Orton. I can remember correctly, Randy Orton versus CM Punk, and CM Punk just doing a springboard something, and Randy got him with RKO. And at that time, I was like mind blowing at 7 years old, like, oh my god. And I don't know why, but I felt like since then I am living with my passion with like I have to be like that. This is my future goal. And since I got pro wrestler, I turned into pro wrestler. There was 1 year's gap of my career because of the company problems before PWS comes up. Before that, I had a really good score in school, and I worked out really regularly. But in that one gaps, there's no motivation of myself to do homeworks or other things. You know, there's no reason why if I'm not pro wrestler, there's no reason why that I need to do that. Also, regular exercise and homework, especially learning English, it doesn't matter because. It doesn't matter because I'm not pro wrestler. So at the time I felt like, oh man, it's over my goal. The pro wrestling is my life. It can be my life without pro wrestling. So that's my goal. That's my pro wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to make it your life. You want to live it and breathe it. Absolutely, JD. Ray, your own experiences. What brought you to in your love of wrestling?
Well, I just gotta go way back than these guys. I started for like maybe when I was 5 or 6, and that was Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, man.
Oh, you know, the Rockers, the Heart Foundation. That's when I just go way back. But the first time I saw wrestling was in my grandparents' house. They were really wrestling fans. They were watching just the local stuff. You know, Carlos Colon, Invader, Chicky Star. You know, that's what I grew up with. And sometimes when I catch it up, they'll be having a WWF, and I remember watching like the Ultimate Warrior running around, and me and my brother used to just run around all over the place. I used to put the little things on here and cut my blood circulation because I thought it was cool. I thought it was real, but I thought I shouldn't just put it tight too much. I remember like doing leg drops at my brother and all that kind of stuff. But sorry, like that, I wasn't really thinking about it. Like I just love watching it. Like I remember watching the first Raw in '93. I was like, I've been watching wrestling that far, 88, 89, and I'm still watching it. But it's like it wasn't something I was thinking to do. Like you always just play with your friends, and I used to like my mom used to have a pool, a kiddie pool, and we used to fill it up all the way up just to do body slams and suplexes on it until you hit the actual payment, and then it hurt. But the moment that I realized that I wanted to do is like when I saw WrestleMania 12, and that was like Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart for a whole hour. You know, I was sitting there for a whole hour watching these two just wrestle. You know, it's like just plain wrestle. It's like you can tell the story from the beginning all the way to the end. The only thing is, like, when I grew up in Puerto Rico, there was like it was big in wrestling, but it was more like I was scared to do it because I didn't want to do it by myself. I actually was like too dependable on my friends. If my friends didn't want to do it, then I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
After that, you know, I joined the army. Spent like 15 years going around, and never brought into my mind that because I spent a lot of time in Texas, and Texas is really big wrestling, but I never actually got out of my way to do wrestling until I got to Korea, and I saw a video of the PWS first show, and then I was like, let me try it, because I was 35. So I'm like, maybe I can just do the basic stuff, and maybe I'll do a couple shows here and there. I didn't see myself doing this today interview. I contacted the page, and they told me this is the date, this is the time. And honestly, I can tell you that I was driving for my first practice, and I was about to turn around. I was about to turn around because I was scared of failing, right? So I was scared of failing. I went back to my old 18-year-old scared of trying it. So I actually went to wrestle, and that's where everything started. But for me right now at this stage, I don't see myself getting signed by a big company. But at this stage, my motivation to showing up, other than the passion for wrestling, is like I have 3 kids. So and they've been watching me on YouTube, and some of them watch me live. That's my motivation, because you can see my kids getting excited because dad is on TV. Wonderful. And there's a place where if my kids ever get scared or they scared of not trying, I can tell them like I was on TV. So there's no way you tell me otherwise. So that's the motivation. I told my everybody that. I told my wife that. Is like they drive me to be in front of people, because Absolutely. I want them to watch me. If dad can do it, I can do better.
What a wonderful message, Ray. Yeah, thank you so much for that. I have a million questions I'd love to keep asking you guys. I know we're short on time, so I'm going to come back for my final question to Shiho to represent the roster, PWS, and to represent the company as a whole. What message have you got for your fans, for the fans of Ray, for the fans of JD, people that love PWS, people that have yet to find PWS? What is your message for the fans that have given their time to your company and will continue to support you going forward?
So every fans all around the world who still don't know about Korean wrestling, like this is something I would say, like you guys might not know, but even right now in Korea, like this, like less than 20 of wrestlers are busting our ass to make this culture bloom in South Korea once again. And these 20s, like less than 20s of wrestler, have a full of dream, full of passion, like in this isolated island of pro wrestling. And even right now, every week, every month, like we are just working our way to the major league, and or we want to like bloom this culture in pro wrestling in Korea so huge. So when you guys support us, like when you guys like watch our YouTube, watch our subscribe our channel, or just or joining our show, you guys are not just enjoying the show. You guys are being the one of the parts of building this new culture together. So that's what I always tell my fans, always tell the fans of PWS. When you guys like watch our show, you guys are actually taking one of the role of building this, because right now, like I said, shortage of number. So for us, whenever one fan like support us, that's huge. That's very, very huge. It's not just one fan watching WWE, like those one fan, and every fan makes this possible. So I really appreciate everybody who support this. And for anybody who doesn't know about us, this is something huge. Like this is something, the very, very beginning of something huge. So we would love we would like everybody to watch this progress that we grow together.
Fantastic, fantastic. And Shiho, just quickly, where do people go? Do they go on Facebook, YouTube? Tell me where people can find you easiest so people can check you guys out.
Very easy. Instagram, Pro Wrestling Society Korea. YouTube, Pro Wrestling Society Korea, or PWS Korea. The
Fantastic.
Korea is the important part. Don't forget.
Absolutely, yes, yes, it is. Honestly, guys, Shiho, Ray, JD, one day we'll have another chat. It's an absolute pleasure to sit with you guys. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Don.
No worries.
Thank
no
you
worries.
so much.